Hey everyone, Tony D with a hot take. Uh, Jesus. I don't know how many more times the Democrats can shoot themselves in the foot. Do they have any feet left to shoot in the feet? Nancy Pelosi refuses to rule out impeaching Trump just to stall a Supreme Court nomination as she accuses him of using SCOTUS vacancy to try to crush the Affordable Care Act. Well, Trump wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act and he wants to replace it with something else. And he got elected to do that. You know, if Obama hadn't lied by saying things like, well, you can keep your doctor, which I didn't, and a lot of people didn't. Oh, and your rates won't go up, and they totally did for other people. Not me. Not me. I got free health care. Thank you all for paying for that, by the way. But Jesus, this is just beyond. I mean, how much more credibility do you have left to lose, Nancy? You're actually going to try impeachment again just to stall him replacing the Supreme Court? Guess what? That ain't going to slow him down. You could do that. It's just going to make you look bad. I'm pretty sure the Senate can handle it all, because they really want this. So if they got to do double work and stay up all night, they'll do it. They'll do it. We have arrows in our quiver that I'm not about to discuss right now, says Nancy. If the House passes an impeachment resolution, it will be privileged and go to the Senate floor. Yeah, where Mitch McConnell will probably just set it aside for 2 months until they get done with replacing SCOTUS. I mean, isn't that part of his gig? Can't he just like set it go, oh, this again? Okay. Well, how about sometime in December, right before Christmas? We'll get to that. I mean, you people are ridiculous. You're actually, I mean, Harry Reid changed the voting on Supreme Court justices, right? You used to need 60 people. And you were told then, don't change it. And the reason they changed it is because at the time, the Democrats had a slim majority, right? And they said, oh, you're holding up our Supreme Court pick, and we'll show you. We'll change the rules so we don't need your votes anymore. How's that working out now that the Republicans have 54 senators? I believe. I think they have 54, at least 52. 52 or 54, I forget. But they're good. They're solid. And you idiots screwed yourselves by doing that. And you were told at that time, Mitch McConnell said, don't do that. You're going to regret doing that. And now here you are regretting doing that. And we're going to get clip after clip of that era. And you saying, well, a slim majority is more than enough need to pass a vacancy. And after you embarrassed yourself with Kavanaugh, I mean, that was an embarrassment. That entire circus was an embarrassment. It's one thing to trot out somebody who says, oh, I got touched by this guy, and, maybe they're a credible witness, but Christine Blasey Ford, in my mind, wasn't very credible. She didn't come off to me as someone who had anything other than an agenda to get a lot of attention. This whole Me Too movement really just face planted right then. You can't just blindly believe women or men or anybody. That's why you need evidence. Okay? We all know this stuff happens. And it's an imperfect system. Some people fall through the cracks. Some people get away with terrible things. In years and years and years ago, there was a response, another judicial response, but that was really imperfect, right? If someone thought their sister was manhandled by somebody, get a bunch of his friends and go take care of business. But that ended up killing people and beating up people who were innocent because people lie. Okay? So, you need to create a balanced system to take care of these things. You're trying to upend the system just to win one fight. I mean, there's threats of we're going to add more states to get more senators. We're going to add more judges just to get more judges. You're idiots for even suggesting that. Because if you do that, or if you did that, if Biden wins and you did that, first off, you're going to be facing, Biden will be a lame duck from day one. The down ballot races are going to all be lost by the Democrats, mostly. There'll be a couple hard blue places that, they'll still hang on, but they're going to lose. It's going to be the UK 2.0. You're going to lose in places you never thought you lose because you've turned this into not Trump versus Biden, but Trump versus the Democratic Party. It's not enough just to not vote for Biden. You have to not vote for the entire Democratic Party now. They're all tainted. Look at the one credible person they had was Tulsi Gabbard, and look at the way they treated her. They cut off her mic. She's leaving the party. She's leaving Congress. I can't blame her. I'd leave the party, too, if I were her. The Republicans, I think, would be more than happy to have her. When she entered office, and she's a flaming liberal. Don't get it wrong. She's a liberal. She entertained reparations and UBI and all kinds of crazy liberal projects. I do not agree with a lot of what Gabby says, but she's a sensible person. I would totally be willing to have a sit down with her and hash out policy because she seems like a person willing to reach across the aisle. She went to Syria during the early crisis of the Trump administration and was trying to help the president. Where were the other Democrats? Nowhere to be found. They didn't want to help. They wanted Syria bombed. And, Tulsi was out there doing the real work. Nancy Pelosi, I guess, was getting her hair done or hanging around in Chinatown trying not to step in poop. I don't know. But this move, impeachment, do you know how sick people are of the impeachment process? That was a failure. And you're setting a terrible precedent. A terrible precedent, because I remember when the Republicans were the a-holes. And they're better at this stuff, Nancy. They're way better at it than you. If the Republicans had decided to impeach Barack Obama for 8 straight years, believe me, they would have been successful eventually. Oh, yeah. Look at Mitch McConnell. He is Captain Procedure. You're not getting this past him. No way. He'll tie this up. He'll set it aside. Yeah, we'll get to it. But he'll use the rules to screw you guys. And now you're basically asking him to. This is all about optics, a game that you're just losing. When people hear that you're going for impeaching Trump again, for what? For what? Using the SCOTUS vacancy to try to crush the Affordable Health Care Act? He's not trying. He's going to do it. And first off, that's going to take months and months. If you think he's not going to win the election, that shouldn't be an issue for you because he fills the vacancy and then he's on his way, right? I mean, that's the way you see it. I say, no, he's just going to fill the vacancy now or fill it later. It doesn't really matter. Some Democrats have been calling to impeach Attorney General Bill Barr. On what? On what? You can't just impeach people because you don't like them. This is more evidence that Bill Barr is close to charging real Democrats. I think this is part of their strategy of keeping Barr away from them. They're basically saying, "Oh, you come after us, we're coming after you." You know, we're not gonna sit in front of Congress and testify and go to jail. We'll impeach you on something. Um, this is the last death throes of the Democratic Party. They're done. They're destroying themselves. There's almost nothing left of them. I mean, when they lose the House, Nancy might as well just hang it up, and she probably will. She probably will. She won't be Speaker anymore. They'll appoint a Republican Speaker of the House. I think she arrogantly believes she'll coast right back into that position. But she's no spring chicken, you know. Ginsburg was 87. I believe Nancy is at least 80. I think she's 80, maybe more. Somebody said 80, 82. You know, we could just turn on the news and she could be dead too. All these people are very old. I gotta say, she looks good for someone in her 80s, though. I mean, she looks very, very, very good. I don't know what she's spending on her hair that's so important. I mean, it just seems like a very simple hairstyle. It seems like a lot of trouble over nothing. You know, to go for that, what is that, the Jennifer Aniston kind of look? You know, at this point, you see, here's the thing. If you blackmail someone, right, and you say, okay, I've got photos of you, I'm blackmailing you, I want $500 a week, or I'm going to show these pictures, and you go, well, okay, here's your money. And then I come back next week and I go, you know what? That's not enough money. It's $1,000. Oh my God! I can't have the pictures out. Here's $1,000. And then a week later, I come back and I say $3,000. Eventually, you're just gonna go, you know what? F this. I told everybody, and then it's over. You don't get any money because you're greedy. Nancy is kind of like that in that she keeps making these threats, and you know she's already called the Republicans the enemy of the people. What is there to say after that? When you call, oh, you guys are the enemy of the people. I mean, is that the real attitude you want going into next year, where you're probably going to be the minority party in both houses? And if not next year, eventually, the wheel turns. There comes a time when the Democrats will be out of power. What are you going to do then? You know, how are you going to make peace with the Republicans after pulling out every stop, after taking Brett Kavanaugh and just raking him over the coals? There was no reason to do that to him. He's not a radical. He's not overturning Roe v. Wade. He's not. Most modern people won't do that. Yeah, if they got some uber religious guy, he'd be up there crowing about abortion all day long, but they won't pick those guys. These people are from colleges, you know, the colleges you guys run. They're full of social justice warriors, top to bottom. It's nearly impossible to find a conservative. There's no way they're going to overturn Roe v. Wade. I mean, look, from a legal standpoint, it's a precedent. It's not a law, and it really should be debated in Congress, but you wimps won't do it. That's part of the problem. Oh, you're so pro-choice. Well, will you debate it? Oh, we don't have to debate. Oh, no. I mean, have the courage of your convictions. Go on the floor of Congress and debate it. And then you could have a real law that everybody can live with. The problem with Roe v. Wade and the problem with the abortion situation in general is that, again, this all comes back to one thing: limits. The Democrats have no limits. So when the Virginia state legislature passed an abortion law, because they're trying to turn the state hard blue, someone asked, I forget who it was, but someone in the legislature was like presenting the bill, and she got asked, so if someone came in and was, you know, in the middle of their, having the baby, like they were dilated and going into labor. I was trying to think of the word. Could you abort the baby? And they said yes. They didn't even hesitate. They were like, oh yeah. Like, that's too much. I know people who are hardcore Democrats, and I said, would you abort a baby if somebody was in labor? They go, oh no. And like most people, they don't want abortion used as birth control. So there are limits. So at some point, you got to set those limits. Maybe you set it at, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. Maybe 3 months after the woman finds out she's pregnant. Something like that. Or, I mean, as libertarians, we would say, well, that's up to the woman and their doctor, but really it's about what is the legal definition of life. It's very complicated. It's very complicated when you drill down into it. So, but these justices, if you pick a good justice, it doesn't matter because they'll be thoughtful. They'll be thinking people. You, Nancy Pelosi, would be a disaster as a judge because you don't think, you react. You're constantly reacting to Trump, which is why you suck. Because Trump plays you like a little puppet. Just because RBG is dead and wanted somebody to replace her. Look, Trump already said a woman. He'll appoint a woman. Okay, that checks off a box for you. If he gets a woman of color, that's 2 points for you guys. How are you gonna accuse her of horrible things then? The truth is you can't if he does that. That's why he's gonna do that. He's gonna, once again, 3D chess you. He's gonna appoint somebody that's so, probably a person of color. Someone like Candace Owens, right? No, it won't be Candace Owens, but she'll be very conservative and very black. And what are you going to do? What are you going to say then? You embrace these identity politics instead of people's merit. You're going to try to destroy her then? Like you did with, they tried to destroy Clarence Thomas. He somehow still got on. Quite frankly, I don't really trust Clarence Thomas, although I think he got, again, now that I saw how they treated Brett Kavanaugh, I question how they treated Thomas. I have a lot of questions now about that. Because I remember seeing that, and I, at the time, totally believed it because that was still the time of TV, where you watch things on TV and go, oh, that's the way it is. Now you got the internet. Now I look back on it and go, well, maybe there's more to that story. Maybe Anita Hill was just being political. Maybe she wasn't accosted or anything. Maybe it was just blown out of proportion. I don't know. I have to question it now. After what I saw with Kavanaugh, I mean, people lost their damn minds. And now they're melting down all again. So you better get your S together, Nancy. It's too late to apologize, too late to go back. At this point, just fold your tent. Fold your tent and just start over in 2021. Maybe start over and say, you know what? We got off on the wrong foot. We did some bad things. And, we're really sorry. We'd like to work with you in the next 4 years. And you'll probably get your hand slapped away. I wouldn't blame Trump for doing it right away. You'd have to keep coming back again and again until Trump, well, all right. Although knowing Trump, probably the first or second time you did it, he'd be like, all right. He just wants to make deals, Nancy. He just wants to get stuff done. I know, that's crazy to you, but just let him get stuff done. He'll make sure you get a nice compliment and a little pat on the head. But this, okay, you want to keep fighting him. You keep losing. Do you think just like you get a bonus for tries? I mean, is that part of the strategy here? Just you try it enough times, eventually something works? So far, that seems to be a poor strategy after 4 years. And you're setting a precedent that the Republicans now, when a Democrat is in, can just impeach him and start investigation after investigation. Do you think Biden will even last 4 years? First off, he'll probably just leave office. He's so old. I can't imagine Kamala Harris will last a month before the Republicans are like, we're going to start an investigation. It's time to impeach. I mean, you're setting a terrible precedent. If you're successful in this, the Republicans have no choice but to adopt the same burning, scorched earth strategy. And once they do, they'll be better at it than you, because they have their S together in that arena, especially Mitch McConnell. He runs circles around you people. Fortunately for you, I think Trump's going to win. And he should get the nominee this week, get her approved, get her right in there within a couple of weeks, and just get this off his plate. And then you guys can piss and moan about that for the election.